So the new patch in Ashes of Creation just dropped, and in this patch we got a lot of new content. We got expanded desert content. We got a big update to the tropics. The tropics is like night and day difference. There's so much stuff to do out there now. And we got sailing. That's super cool. And the big ticket item, the thing that most people were clamoring about, is the rogue class. We got all of that this month in Ashes of Creation. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly of this patch and just the game in general. Let's start off with the good things, and there's a lot of good things in Ashes of Creation right now. The first thing being the rogue. The new rogue class is phenomenal. It is so much fun to play. A lot of really cool in-game, in-depth mechanics, and it's just fun. It's just a fun class to play. Bucky and Intrepid did a fantastic job, and I know some of you guys are saying, Bucky?
Bucky? Who the hell is Bucky?
Yes, that's right. They got Bucky, the actual Avenger, to make the rogue class. And whatever they paid, it was worth it because this class is so fun to play. I'm having a blast. Very likely going to be my main. The way I play this game, the whole Desert Bandit thing, the rogue class kind of naturally aligns with that sort of play style. And in my opinion, it is one of the hardest classes to play in the game at a baseline level, at base effectiveness. There are going to be a lot of terrible rogues in this game. Now, I know right now, in the current environment, there are a lot of terrible rogues being carried by their absurd gear. That's just happening right now because the game is kind of dumb in that regard. But I think in a more reasonable environment, the rogue is going to be one of the harder classes to play in the game. There are a lot of in-depth mechanics. There's a lot of like tech and just like combos. It's very high actions per minute. The class has a ton of super fun abilities. You've got Shadow Step, Acrobatic Strike, Smoke Bomb, Backstab, Grappling Hook is so cool. Lots of really, really fun sandboxy abilities. A lot of potential skill expression. Again, right now we are in Looney Tunes gear, so people being carried by that. But I think that there are going to be a tremendously large amount of bad rogues because just looking at the kit, in a reasonable environment, you're going to be doing a lot. You have a lot to keep track of. You have a lot of actions per minute. And I think that's good. I think that the rogue class being hard is probably good for the health of the game. You just don't want to be playing a game where there's a ton of rogues everywhere. So I think that the rogue right now is going to be one of the most popular classes because it's fun and it's new and it's cool. But I bet towards phase 3, you're going to see a rogue extinction level event. And I think that this class is going to really cater towards the specialists. And I love it. I love this class because there's so much depth to even the things that you don't really think about. The Ruthless talent, for example. A lot of people probably just look at the Ruthless talent and they're like, oh, that's kind of cool. That changes the game. That changes the way you play entirely. I see that talent and I'm like, hold the phone. This changes the way I approach the class entirely because you're like, wait, if Ruthless works like this, that means that with my backstab and it resets feint, does that mean I can do? Yes. If you were also thinking that, yes. So when you have like a talent like Ruthless, it's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful talent because it has this new play style where the rogue is all about restraint now. And I love Ruthless because it's like, your backstab is lit up and you want to hit it and you've got advantage, but it's actually better if you don't. You get that second advantage. Oh, I love it. I love it. I cannot wait for the rogue in a more reasonable, higher skill environment than we are in right now. Enough rogue glazing. Let's talk about some of the issues with the class. For the most part, I think everything is pretty good, especially for their first pass. The only real problems I have with the class are like bugs and just, things that a gameplay pass would help. For example, Acrobatic Strike and Feint just like take you wherever they want sometimes. I would say 90% of the time these abilities work reasonably well. They're still not super accurate in terms of positioning your character properly behind your target, but 5% of the time it'll shoot you like 60 meters up in the air. You'll do crazy Tony Hawk stuff. So I would really like you to lock down that and really focus on getting that working properly because that's going to be infuriating in PvP when you just get killed because your feint decided to just shoot you in a crazy direction. If that means that you guys have to cheat on the back end and make it not necessarily like real-time physics or everybody's obsessed with that. If you guys have to cheat on the back end to make the skill work consistently, please do it. Please do it. I don't care if my character zips through feint. I don't care if it's a teleport. I just care about the functionality. And the other change I'd like to see made is that for the abilities that have charges, I'd like to see some sort of sanity check to where you can't accidentally double tap them. If you've played a rogue with the expanded tool belt, you'll know what I'm talking about, where you go to use your poison once and you'll double tap it and you'll use it twice, or you'll throw twice when you meant to throw once. I would love to see that stuff have like a 2-second cooldown, especially with the stuff like toxins. There is zero reason why you'd ever want to do a back-to-back toxin application. And again, this is probably just an alpha thing, first pass. This might already be on their radar, but it is very, very easy to double tap your charged abilities and waste them. Sleep Dart, another example where it's like, oh, why would you ever want to double tap that in quick succession? So yeah, some sanity checks there would be good, but for the most part, the rogue, phenomenal. Honestly, phenomenal. Next up, we have the sailing, and the sailing is super cool for their first pass. I don't know, it looks really cool, really cinematic. Yes, there's some bugs with the cannons. Primarily, the main complaint with the sailing is that it's just not useful for anything right now. It's just in there. You can ride your boat around, but you can see what they're trying to do with the way they're laying the world out and the way the tropics is structured. It's cool. You can see what they're going for with the islands. It's great. If you're a fan of Arcade, like, this is tapping into that. As for the tropics, I'm really enjoying the aesthetic, especially when you're sailing around and on the water. It's very cool. It's very cool having the biomes be so different, from the Riverlands to the desert to the tropics. I really like that they're getting crazy with it. I'm sure they're going to have like an Arctic zone or something. I like that there's such a difference. And you can kind of see what they're going for long term. And the next thing I'm really enjoying is that we're seeing more and more content get added to the game quicker and quicker and quicker. New zones are coming online faster. New monsters are coming online faster. We're getting more content faster now that the backend systems are developed. And speaking of backend systems, another major thing they did this patch that I didn't even mention in the title is the 100v100 node sieges. Now, I personally have not done any 100v100 node sieges, but they're cool. Like, they're pretty cool that the game is able to just not die in a 100v100 skirmish. I know they are targeting 500v500, and I'll be honest, guys. Maybe I'm wrong. I just don't think they're going to hit that. That is an insane amount of calculations. 500v500, because it's exponential. You know, going from 499 to 500 is much harder than going from 250 to 251. That's how it maths out on the back end. It's this hard. This is what they're doing is hard, and the fact that it's this good this early is insane. So the fact that the game is holding up like decently well at 100v100 is a very, very good sign. So I'm excited for that. I'm not a huge like large scale PvP guy. I do it obviously, but that's not what I super butter my bread with. But the fact that it runs that good is great for somebody like me, because that means that the rest of the game, if it can handle 100v100, that means that, you know, this open world random PvP stuff that I like is just going to run like butter. The next thing I really like is that there's 2 new currencies that have been added to the game. Those are the lawless trophies and the lawless packages. These will drop from mobs that you kill in the lawless areas. Presumably, the higher end bosses will drop more of these at a higher chance or higher quality, whatever, than the lower end mobs. But it seems like everything can drop them. So I really like this. I really, really like this. Now, I will say right now, currently in the game, they're not useful. But the fact that they've added these to the game means that they understand. And what you need in a game like this is you need a reason to exist in the lawless zones all the time. There needs to be a thing that you can never get enough of. There needs to be a reason to exist in these zones and always be doing things in these zones. Because what you don't want is you don't want PvP to only exist during events. You do not want the siege logging that you saw in games like Crowfall, where the game is just dead unless it's this specific time on this specific date where people log in and then they log out and they don't touch the game for a week. No, you need to be able to log in and just randomly see dynamic PvP happening and have these little, like this little beehive that is the PvP zones. There needs to always be a reason to be in the PvP zones, doing things in the PvP zones. This is a requirement. So the fact that they have these trophies means that they are at least aware of that. So hopefully this currency is expanded on dramatically. I would like to see this currency be highly, highly, highly valuable. Highly valuable. So Intrepid, if you're listening to this, seriously, like, you need to put some good stuff on that vendor. That's critical to the health of the game, because PvP is the endless content loop that is the cheapest to maintain. So Please listen. Now let's get into the bad. And outside of the rogue this patch, there's not any new content that is actually useful. Now, what I mean by that is that right now people are dabbling with the new content, but it's not like a crazed frenzy. There's not like a whole bunch of people swarming the tropics to go do the new things and get the new things, because none of that stuff right now in the current game environment is useful. Now, if there was a wipe and we were all on level 1 characters and everything's fixed, yes. But right now, none of it is actually useful. The content is good, the tropics are cool, the new grind spots are cool. You can see what they're going with, right? You can see what they're going for, but right now, nobody cares because it's pretty simple. Everybody has everything they need. There's not any like dramatically crazy items that are dropping in the tropics. Some of them, there are a few items, but for the most part, everybody is so kitted out and so rich and so finished that there's not a lot of incentive to go out there and do the new things. And as we talked about previously, yes, there are new PvP currencies, but they're not hooked up to anything useful, so nobody cares. There's a lot of great glint farming spots and leveling spots and things like that out in the tropics, but who cares? Again, everybody's got everything. The player base is just so established. The mini bosses, they have new gear drops, but they're largely useless because they're level 20 items that people can't be bothered to enchant, or they're just barely better than what people already have, and they just can't be fucked. The sailing, super cool, again, useless. So that's sort of the, like, how this patch has been. It's like, oh, this content is super cool. I can see what, like, I can't wait to play this when it matters, but right now it just doesn't matter because the player base is just so stacked. Everybody's just got everything. So I'm looking forward to experiencing the tropics when there's a wipe and there's that craze and that hunger. And the final bad thing is that if you're a PvP player like myself, there's not a lot of content for you to do right now. There's actually less PvP content in the game now than there has ever been because Intrepid has effectively kind of removed the whole war deck situation. If you've played this game before, you know that back in the day, you used to just be able to declare war on guilds and you just, PvP smash, and that system wasn't great. I get why they turned it off because it was just like it was definitely being abused to just declare war on like randoms in town. That absolutely was happening. But it also was fun to war deck guilds you didn't like, right? And that system is basically turned off right now. So if you're a PvPer, kind of slim pickings. Yes, there is still some ganking out in the lawless zones, which you see me doing right now, but it ain't what it used to be, and there's not enough drive to the PvP zones. There's not enough hunger to be out there to get consistent PvP content, which is a huge bummer. But again, if we were in different circumstances in terms of like, a wipe, then I think it would be playing out dramatically differently. Unfortunately, here in about a week or so, I think the player base is probably going to drop off again and become pretty inactive because there's just not a lot of hunger to get out there and do the new stuff. People are going to check out the rogue and kind of play that out. They're going to check out the new zones and play that out. But I don't think you're going to see the frenzy that we'd all like to see. And maybe that's okay. Obviously, I love the game and I would love to be playing a more active game. But it is alpha testing, so maybe these next few weeks probably are going to drop off until Phase 3, which I expect to hopefully be a frenzy. If it's a wipe, Phase 3 is a wipe or a fresh server, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy if we get a fresh server or a wipe on Phase 3. That'll change the entire way we've been thinking about a lot of things, especially if they fix a lot of the things we're getting ready to talk about in the ugly. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for, the downright ugly and unexcusable. And I'm not going to hold back any punches here because these two things still being the way they are is ridiculous. The fact that there hasn't been any band-aid fixes for these two things is ridiculous. I don't care that it's an alpha. These two things in particular could have been band-aid fixed in a million different ways easily. We're not talking about adding new content. We're not talking about changing systems. We're talking about database entries could have fixed these things. We all know it's coming. The time to kill and insane itemization. Now, I am not asking you to retune the entire game and change all of the stat weights for everything. I get that that's hard, and I get that doing that on the first pass is very difficult. What I like to compare this to is race cars. So sometimes in stock car racing, the cars are going too fast. It's too dangerous. Do they re-engineer the entire car? No, they add restrictor plates to the cars to limit the amount of air intake and slow them down without having to change the cars. That's what I've been asking for months. Months I have been asking for this. Months I've been warning about this. I have videos back when I had like 300 power saying, hey guys, the game is starting to get a little crazy. Like, can we get out ahead of this and maybe, like, I can see where this is going. Like, you didn't have to be a rocket scientist to see that the stats were getting crazy. And my proposition was, can we please just have a very aggressive diminishing return on high-end stats? Meaning, let's say you get to 300 power. Now it's like 90% DR. You still get a little bit of an upgrade going past 300, but it's dramatically decreased because the game starts falling apart. I'd say around 300. Around 300 power, people start hitting pretty hard, even at that level. To put things into context, the rogue gameplay you're watching right now is me at 398 physical power. And you might be saying, oh, you're killing people fast. Yes. There are people with 600 unbuffed. 600 unbuffed. I'm at 398, and I'm killing some of these people in like 3-4 seconds. That is ridiculous. And again, I understand that MMO optimization is hard. I get it. I get that this is an alpha. But this, I just don't believe this is a hard fix. I don't believe this is a hard fix to Band-Aid fix. I'm not asking that you have the perfect solution that fits kumbaya into the vision of the game. No, I'm asking for a gameplay concession, just a restrictor plate. I just don't believe that all the smart people at Intrepid that are making all these crazy complex systems can't Frankenstein patchwork a fix into the game to not make it stupid. It's been stupid for months, and it's been getting dumber and dumber and dumber for months. And it's just infuriating that the game and so many things about the game are so good, and it's being held back by literal database entries. It's actually insane. Now, I can already hear some of you guys typing, wow, you're being a little harsh for an alpha video game. Yes, because this particular instance is ridiculous because it's, what are we testing? Like, first of all, you need testers. The game can't be just completely ridiculous that nobody wants to play it. And unfortunately, a lot of people have just been like so turned off by the fact that the game is just silly as fuck that they just stop playing. So there goes some of your testers. But also, what are we testing? This is not just, this is an angry PvPer complaining that the game is very low skill right now. Yes, that is happening. But this trivializes every element of the game. When the stats are this crazy, what the fuck are we testing? Seriously, everything is trivialized by this gear. And to put things in, I'm at 390 whatever physical power. That is considered under-geared. That's considered, my gear is bad. Now, to contextualize this, when I was leveling up my rogue, a melee character, which again, not as good as leveling as like a mage in terms of just like being able to kite and stuff. When I was leveling, do you think anything was a challenge at all with that gear? No. Dude, I was soloing mobs that were 9 levels higher than me, 2 stars. 2-star mobs, 9 levels higher than me. That's how I leveled. Just soloing them. Just not even paying the because we just have rocket fuel in our characters. So like, it's affecting every element of the game. And why it hasn't been Band-Aid fixed is actually just insane. And this is a gameplay concession that should have been made a long time ago. And it'd be one thing if they weren't making other gameplay concessions, but they are. People have had they've patchworked other systems in certain ways to make the gameplay of the alpha better. And it just seems like this is such an easy fix, right? And speaking of gameplay concessions, let's talk about a terrible gameplay concession. And the other thing that I will continue to rant about until they fix, because it is so goddamn stupid, it's causing people to actually quit the game in like literal quit moments. And that is the corruption system. So the corruption system is not fully fleshed out. That's fine. It's an alpha. That's great. So what they did was they made gameplay concessions. The system's not supposed to function like this, but for the alpha, it will. So they changed the system. It's a gameplay concession. We're not allergic to making gameplay concessions, obviously. So the corruption system right now is intentionally overtuned, which I am fine with. Just if it's not intentionally overtuned in the way that it is right now. The corruption system right now, if you believe that the corruption system is punishing bad players and bad actors that are mean and bullying the innocent players, you are delusional. Right now, the corruption system is a tool for griefing. It's not an anti-griefing tool. It is a tool for griefing, where the people that know the exploits and the bugs and all the shitty things you can do with a corruption system use that against people that don't know about it. It's that, or it's people frustratingly being randomly corrupted and losing their gear. That's all it is right now. It's not stopping bad actors. It's not doing any of that. This system is primarily being weaponized against people that just don't know the newest and latest, greatest exploit surrounding it. And to just to give you just a random example of something that people used to do, I would have talked about this previously, but it was a bug that was actually like somebody could go full-blown psycho school shooter mode and go crazy with this bug. But now it's been fixed, so we can talk about it. There was a bug with corruption where you could, let's say two guilds declared war on each other. What one guild could do is that they could create a level 3 tank and protect one of the warring guild mates. And if you attacked that person, you would kill the level 3 tank that was unaffiliated with the war, go corrupt in town, the guards would one-shot you, and since you killed a level 3, you would go like corrupt 3 or corrupt 4, lose all your gear, and you just got fucked. And that is just what the corruption system is right now. It is not, oh, the big bad bully player that was bullying those noobs finally got what was coming to him. No. Every fucking time somebody is corrupt, almost every time it is because there was a bug, the UI didn't show the thing right, they were in a node siege and got corrupt. Every time it's a bug. Or it's an exploit. And the way the system is right now, where you have gear drops on corruption, it creates a perverse incentive. This is not a justice system. This is just an opportunistic thing now, where you are now incentivizing players to find all the craziest exploits and bugs and use them against the people that don't know about them. That's what this incentivizes. This is the behavior it incentivizes, because there's now, not only do you get to fuck over the person you're trolling tremendously, you get to directly benefit by getting their items. That is crazy. You can disincentivize griefing and limit the amount of griefing somebody can do with your other mechanisms in the game. I don't know why it has to be gear drops. That's just so crazy. 10x the experience debt. If you kill a player, guess what? You got to grind 1,000,000 XP debt off. Could go grind for 3 hours. Like, you can do things in a way that are not going to sting so badly for the innocent player that inevitably suffers from a bug. Because the way you're designing the system right now is crazy. With the perverse incentives, the only way this works is if you create a bug-free game. That's outrageous. Why you are setting yourself up to fail like this is crazy. And there was just a clip just recently of a guy, of a random noob just running around the world, and he goes and loots a corpse, and it's a +8 long sight bow. A +8 legendary long sight bow. Now, what do you think happened? Do you think that the guy that went corrupt and died right there, do you think that he was like, I'm going to be a bully and just kill this random noob and go corrupt and lose all my fucking gear? Do you think that's really what went through his head? Do you think that there are people actually like, I'm going to go corrupt in my main set of gear and lose it all? I don't care. I'm just a big jerk. No. That guy that lost that +8 long sight bow, now I don't know this for sure, but I'm almost certain that he probably did not intend to go corrupt. He probably killed a guy that was flagged on his screen, but he wasn't actually flagged, went corrupt, died, whatever. Maybe, you can accidentally do it. There are people that have accidentally had their PvP flag on, and one-shot somebody's mount just in the town, just not paying attention. They didn't realize they left it on, and they just accidentally hit a button, one-shot somebody's mount, guards kill them, corrupt 3, lose all your gear, get fucked. Like that. This has happened so many times, and I know people that have quit the game over just losing all their gear to corruption bugs. And I'll be honest, if I was that guy that lost that +8 long sight bow, I'd be done. I'd be done until there was a wipe. That's great. That's just, why are you building in quit moments into the game? Like, it's just so crazy. And it's not new. Like, this has happened over and over. It's just crazy. Now, I know some of you guys are saying, wow, Zyback, you're really putting the screws to him here. You realize this is a game that's in development. Yes, I do. And the reason I'm putting the screws to them so much on these particular issues is because these are layups, man. These are database entries. I'm not asking for systematic changes. There are people that complain about Ashes of Creation. Oh, there's not enough in-game loops. The leveling is stale. We need more story content and quests. The bugs. Like, I'm not complaining about stuff that obviously takes time to develop and is iterative. Like, I understand how the game development stuff works. I'm complaining about shit that is, I feel like, genuinely is so fucking easy to fix. These are layups, man. So I love the game. I love the game. And I'm still extremely optimistic about the game, because what I will say is that they're doing the hard things right. the combat, the feel, the performance. They're doing all of the hard things right, which is why I guess it's so infuriating to me that you have the corruption system and the stats. Like these two, like, in my opinion, pretty minor things just fucking shooting the game right in the foot. It's crazy to me. So, yeah, I can look past like a lot of the major things that are still being developed, but it's just like when you're making other gameplay concessions and you're just not, I don't know, it's irritating as fuck, but I love the game. And I will continue to play the game, and I cannot wait for Phase 3. A lot of this stuff is going to be ironed out in Phase 3, I'm sure. But the fact that they let it linger this long, I think is still pretty inexcusable. So I'm going to put the screws to them and not totally drink the copium. But that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a good one.